Peace and blessings to everyone watching. And thank you to everyone who's, stayed with me this far. The comments, the sharing of these videos, the likes, the support, the general support, man, is wonderful. It's overwhelming from time to time because I'm humble and I'm grateful for it. So for all of you all out there, man, who just constantly encourage me and push me and support me and offer your pieces of wisdom and knowledge and experiences, your own life stories. I appreciate you. I really do. I thank you. And I pray that we can keep this thing going. This morning, I want to talk about trust. It's a very hard thing to establish in prison. Very hard because, again, keep in mind, most guys are in prison for criminal activity. So what they do is they throw honesty and integrity out the door more often than not. Whether you're a thief, whether you're selling drugs, whether you're killing, even if, it was a mistake or a first time or whatever, you throw integrity out the door for that moment. And some guys live like that in the streets. Some guys, they sell drugs all day, every day to any and everybody, and there's a degree of lacking of integrity. And so when you go to prison, you run into, as I've said before, you run into homeboys. You run into guys who are from your area, from your neighborhood, from, your city, your country, your county, wherever. And, you latch on to them because there's a degree of familiarity, guys, especially if you're surrounded by hundreds and hundreds of guys who aren't from where you're from, there's a nervousness in you. There's a degree of fear because you don't know how things are going to go from day to day. So you automatically attach yourself to people who are from your area because you have things in common. That's off the top. So, you can sit down and relate to them, et cetera, et cetera. Then the more you hang around, the more you find the differences. And I've seen this happen. You find, okay, man, I don't like this guy or his breed of, individuals. They're not the type of guys that I deal with. So you drift from them and you begin to lose sight of the barriers that were placed in your mind or others' minds when you first failed, which is where you from, some type of religious affiliation, etc. So, you begin to merge more and more as you mature with people who have things in common who may not be from where you're from. So trust is a difficult thing because I've seen guys who have been tight, close, hang with each other every day. I remember there was a situation where it was these guys that were bloods. And one guy, I think he was from Martinsville, Virginia. That's what I think most guys called him. I can't remember his name. And there was another guy that hung with him. And I was cool with both of them. Both of them actually were good guys. I mean, for the most part, even though they were in gangs or whatever, they weren't the type to start trouble. They didn't sit in the pod acting rowdy, acting childish or whatever. Nah, they just kind of mind their own and they could hold their own. They would defend one another. And you would see them every single day, just like my brother Roy and I. You would see these guys every day, all day together. You see one, you see the other. And one of them, he was on drugs. And I think he was on, whatever drug he was on. He owed a guy. I think like $100, and he owed him for like 2 months. And the guy he owed, wasn't really trying to fight the organization, you know what I mean? They weren't trying to fight the Bloods because there was a lot of them, on the compound at the time. And so the guy, he spoke to one of the Bloods, that had rank. It was like, man, your man owed me some money. And he's owed me for a minute, you know what I mean? I was just wondering, how, can y'all talk to him or something and get him to, pay me my money? Now, this particular leader was not as wise. And I know him, he wasn't as wise. He had an ego. And so what he did was he went to the guy that owed. And he said, man, this guy just let me know that you owe him some money for, some drugs, et cetera, et cetera. Go do something to him for putting your business out there. Which is not what a thorough leader would have done. A thorough leader would have like, man, why you owe this man money? You know what I'm saying? What are you on and why are you on it? Okay, if you're on it, I know drugs are difficult, hard to get off, etc. Excuse me. So pay him his money. You have a certain amount of time to pay him his money. What do you have in your cell? Give him something. That's what a thorough leader would have did, because what that does is it keeps you and your organization safe from any outside trouble. Any, whether the guy, decides to go tell the police, or he decides to, as they say, squad up and bring whoever he has to fight you or whatever. You just don't know. But this is what the leader said. The leader said, go beat him up. And you have, I think, like 3 days. Now, even though the guy owed him and the guy, they dealt. They were cool. The guy had been providing with drugs for a long period of time. They laughed, they joked. So he didn't do it. Yeah, he didn't beat the guy. He just kind of just like, all right, what I'm saying? I'll see him when I see him out, But what he did was pull up on him. He said, man, why you tell, my leader that I owed you, man? I told you I got you, etc. That's how that conversation went. They argued and they went on about their business. About 3 days after that discussion with the leader to do something, him and his buddy, the two guys that I say were tight, were walking down the boulevard, and his buddy, man, just punched him dead in his face, man, right in front of the mailbox on Nottoway's Boulevard. Staggered him, took him to one knee. Guy shook, he hit him again, boom, you know what I mean? Then he just kind of left him there and walked off. Man, that bothered so many people. It bothered me, because I know that within the organizations, every organization, no matter what it is, gang or religious, there are laws and there are rules that people have to abide by. And if you violate their laws and rules, there are consequences. Whatever it may be, you may be a part of the Nation of Islam and you may, violate a law. And if it's not extreme law, let's say you owe money, you repeatedly owe money, then a brother may say, man, we're going on that rec yard, man, and we're going to, not only we're going to get that debt paid, you're going to pay your debts because we're taught not to owe. Prophet Muhammad said that a man that goes to his grave owing debts won't see paradise, peace be upon him. And, in the nation, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he was very particular about people. He said debt was slavery, because it's always on your mind. How I'm going to pay this person, how I'm going to get this person back their money. You know what I mean? It enslaves your mind to that. So it's not good to, owe people, and in prison, it's like unheard of. It's a no-no, because, you have people doing it and you have too many people doing it, to be honest with you. But, to do it over and over again, it's not a good thing. 1, 2, you can't owe everybody, man. Some people are just untrustworthy. So that's that. But yeah, when the guy knocked out his best friend, man, and I say best friend because these guys, and I knew him for a good while. I'm going to say for almost like 8-9 months. And these guys were together every single day. For him to do that to his best friend. And, again, like I said, he'll talk to you. So I literally spoke to him. The police locked him up, put him in the hole. They both came out. They were in separate buildings. So it was hard for them. Excuse me. It was hard for them to see each other on the rec yard. And they never hung again. I swear they never hung again. I think they were on the yard at least for another 3 or 4 months when one of them got transferred. But I asked the guy, I said, man, man, what's happening, man? Not to disrespect you, I have to ask. That's your main man, what happened? He said he was told to, go at the guy that he owed for putting his business out there. And he didn't do it. And I was told to get at him. And he said, had I not got at him, we both would have eventually got it, And I was like, wow, trust, And then, I recounted another story. It was a guy, he's from up here in D.C., man, young guy, man, I was tight with, named Hawk. And he was wild. He was wild. He was a little small guy, man, slim, like 120 pounds, man, soaking wet. Looked like a nerd, man, had glasses, just looked like the nicest guy in the world, man, could fight his butt off. Little young soldier, man. And he was a fighter. He was spoiled though. You know, he was spoiled. His mom sent him 200 every month. So he was sitting in the corner gambling and couldn't win to save his life. He would lose all that money every month, $200, $200. And it was like it was nothing. And, you know, from time to time, he would, you know, well, once that I know of, he actually went up in the guy's sale and stole, you know, some of the guy's product. The guy ran a store box, which is, like I said before, is when you have things in your sale, soups, chips, cookies, you know, sometimes cosmetic stamps. And, you know, some guys don't want to go to the store, don't have the money to go to the store right then and there. They may come to you and say, can I get 2 soups? And they'll give you, you'll give them 2 soups and, you know, they give you 3 back. You know, they come and get 5 sodas, they bring you 7 back. That's the store box. So Hawk ran up in a guy's sale, man, stole a bunch of tobacco products. And the guy, you know, we knew the guy too, you know, so he was from up here and all that. It's like, yeah, it was wild. I used to get on him all the time. I mean, honestly, I used to get on him all the time. One time he was in a pod next to our pod, gambling. And one of the COs in the booth, man, you know, she saw him. She called him to the booth. She told him, go back to your side, pack your stuff. You're going to the hole. So one of the young guys that I did with, man, from Richmond, good guy, he actually turned around and came to me. I said, brother Khalid, man, they locking Hawk up, man. So I run downstairs and I practically begged the lady, man. I was like, man, you know, give Youngin a chance, man. He been in this pod longer than he's been in any pod. And you know that. She was like, yeah, you're right. You know what I'm saying, Kareem, you know, you keep him out of trouble, you know what I mean? But not today you didn't. And I said, well, I mean, I don't know everything he does, you know what I mean? But I'm doing my best, man. You know what I'm saying? He got a mom, I ran down as much as I could, you know, and hoping that the sister would be lenient with him. And she was. She said, well, tell him come up here. So I go to the cell, you know what I mean? I said, bro, I said, you ain't got to pack up. He started jumping, but the way the booth is lined up, she can see into the cell. So I said, man, my back is to the roof. I'm like, man, calm down, man. You about to show off, man. Hold on. I said, go to the booth and humble yourself, man. You know what I'm saying? And apologize, man. Say you won't do it no more, whatever. So she did a thing called a PIP. A PIP is when they don't give you a charge, but they stop you from going to the canteen for like a month. They stop you from getting visits for like a month and using the phone for a month, but you don't get a charge on your record. So a lot of guys would be, you know, didn't like the PIP, but they would accept the PIP. So Hawk was all right. But fast forward, I used to stay on him. Like I said, he got into a lot of fights. He would get into boxing matches in the prison called Smokers. He was pretty successful, but he would get into a lot of fights, you know, because he always was into something. Usually it was gambling or people overlooked him because, like I say, he was small, kind of looked nerdy. So some guys would say slick stuff, not knowing who he was. And Youngin was quick to react, and he was pretty good, you know, in his reaction. So he was cool with another guy that I actually knew from Juvenile, right? And the guy that I knew from Juvenile, him and his older brother and I were pretty cool. You know, back in like 92, 93, we were pretty cool, you know, and we stood by each other's side once. You know, in juvie about they had to fight side by side. You know, we talked all the time. We played checkers and chess all the time. We just generally talked. And a couple of times on the street, we actually sat down and talked and, you know, hung for a spell. So I had, you know, great respect for the guy's brother. So again, same youngin that I mentioned earlier from Richmond, you know what I'm saying, that I was cool with, come to myself, bro, Khalid, man, Hawk on the other side, man, he about to fight. And at the time, he was in the other pod that he got caught gambling in. He was in that pod. He stayed over there. So I go to the back doors, and we have a back door and they have a back door. So our door was open. The CO in the booth was pretty lenient. So I go to the back door. I look through the door, and I see a guy. I see 2 guys. Now Hawk was Muslim, you know. He had a Muslim name. You know what I'm saying? He prayed whenever, you know what I'm saying. The spirit moved him, or he listened to that. So 2 guys who were on opposite sides of the cell door were Muslims. Hawk is trying to go in the guy's cell that I know from the street and fight him. But he's not going in there because he's actually telling the 2 Muslim guys, nah, man, you know, this ain't no jump. I'm going to fight by myself. I don't want none of y'all help. He arguing with them like to the point where, you know, he wants to fight them and they're not focused on him. They focus on the fight that he's about to engage in, you know, in their mind, defending their Muslim brother. So I call him to the back door real quick. I said, well, come here, man. I said, man, don't let them dudes, man, you know, jump Youngin, man. I said, I know that man, brother. You know, and I said, man, I know you and I rock with you, man. Fight him head up. And Hawk like, no, I'm trying to fight him head up, man. Yeah. I said, well, look. You go in there and fight them, they're going to run in there behind you. You know what I'm saying? Just, you know, fall back, man, whatever. I say, but, it's my word. I say, but, don't turn your back on him. So he said, all right, all right. So he told young man, we get it on. We get it on. So they walking the child. Hawk is watching them. They kind of stand about 10, 15 feet from each other. They get in the child hall. They get to, eating. And Hawk, I guess he gets engaged in the food. And somehow, when people walk past you, that's a blind spot. And as soon as the guy walked past them, the youngins come behind the guy and hit Hawk. Boom, knock him, knock him side the head. Hawk shook it off, but by that time, there were like a couple police right there where they were sitting. So they rushed over. So, Hawk, put his guard up, jumped up in the youngin, but by that time they were pulled apart. So they locked up the guy that did the hitting. Hawk said in medical, not because he was injured, because that's where they'll separate you in the watch office. They'll put one over there and one in the medical holding. So Hawk said over there, and he basically, saying, baby, man, don't lock. I ain't got nothing to do with that. I don't even know who hit me. I ain't thinking about that stuff. He basically trying not to get the dude locked up. You know what I'm saying? He like, man, I'm all right. You know what I'm saying? Because in his mind, you push it, say, he stole me or he snuck me. That's considered snitching still. So he like, man, I ain't got nothing to do. Man, I don't know who hit me. I'm good. I'm straight. I'm all right. Blah, blah. So, they let him back out. They let him back out. So later on that night, I talked to him, or the evening. He came to the back door and we talked. So the guy that hit him came out the hole about a week later. Now, actually, Hawk goes home at this time in about a month. He goes home in about a month. So, because he respects me. And this is the precarious situation that people are put in from time to time. Mind you, they were going to fight. And Hawk snuck him. the guy snuck Hawk. So Hawk come to me on the yard about 2 days after the guy came out the hole, and he was on the other side of the gate, on the other rec yard. And Hawk said, look, man, I know you know the dude, and I know you tight with his brother. He snuck me. I'm going to get at him. I'm going to get at him. And I said, man, you're going to let him see it coming. Meaning now you're going to, go at him head up. Hawk said, I'm going to try to. I'm going to try to, man. You know what I'm saying? But, it's hard for me to let that slip. And I said, I get it, man. So I tried to stay away from, I tried to stay away from the gate, because I know that if I would have went on the gate and I'd have talked to Youngin, I would have probably told him to be mindful, of your environment, giving him a heads up or something. I just, you don't want to be in that position. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I'd known Hawk for a couple of years at the time. So, fast forward, Hawk was going to, fight him. But when he walked to the gate, they talked, they laughed on the gate. Dude actually apologized, man, my bad, blah, 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 blah. And probably like about 2 days later, everybody going to child, Hawk see him, and Hawk knocked him right off the table. Just hit it where off his stool, where he sat at the table. Hawk caught him, boom, hit him. Youngin hit the ground, laid there for a minute, shook it off. Police come. Hawk said, I told you. I told you. And like, that's literally what he said. They locked him up, locked Youngin up. And from the hole, Hawk went to the home. Youngin eventually got transferred. And the reason behind all of this, again, keep in mind, I'm talking about trust and why it's so hard to trust inside, because, this happens a lot. And sometimes we come out here, many of us come out here with this lack of trust, wanting to trust, but it's hard to trust because these things happen. And it was all behind Hawk and Youngin gambling. And because they're from up the way, up here, the D.C. area, and Youngins from Alexandria, sometimes they feel like, if we gamble and I owe the pot, and this is your gambling, this is your poker game, so I owe the game $100. I'm thinking you're supposed to, because we're from up the way, give me a deal and only make me pay $30. And so Hawk lost a lot. Like Youngin, the other Youngin that hit him, that snuck him the first time, he actually had a lot of money too. There's people looked out for him. So Hawk, he would owe, and he was like, man, I got to pay $50. You know what I'm saying? 20. So Youngin would let him go. Like, all right, just pay 20. Just pay 20. But Hawk lost a lot. So he just got tired, man. And this is the truth. The Youngin that hit Hawk the first time had slept with a homosexual. or got oral sex from one. And Hawk lost respect for him after that because the youngin, from the streets, and that's not something that guys have participated in. They were young, going home soon. The other dude, he was going home in like 2-3 months. So Hawk saw that, lost respect for him because Hawk owed him. He already mad. The youngin ain't really giving him the deals that he was. So Hawk go over in his cell, what we call sneak thieving. Hawk went up in his cell, stole 6 boxes of cigarettes. So youngin come, he see it, he come out the cell, he like, man, you got to see me. So that's what propelled them to, clash, or almost clash the first time. And, and those things happen, man. I'm talking about almost every day. And sometimes, I don't always put stories up because, I don't want people to get bored with me telling these stories of grim and gloom. But they are facts. They are 100% honest. They are the sad reality of that place, not just that out here, which leads people to going in those places. And so I tell them because I don't know who's watching, trust is important. When you establish it, do your best not to break trust. If you owe somebody, you pay them. You pay them. Don't take advantage of one another. I don't care if it's family, friends, or strangers. Do not take advantage of one another. This is a problem. And this is why it's so hard for us to trust one another, because so long and so often have people abused. How many times have our mother sat back and said that a relative has owed her, not paid her, not given her what she owed, or took a product from the house, a toaster, and not giving it back, took a jacket or something and not giving it back. That's a breaching of trust. How many aunts and cousins have we heard say another cousin or our siblings, have owed us or taken from us and not given back? How many times have we confided in somebody, right? Confided in somebody. And then you turn around and you hear what you talked about with this person coming out that person's mouth. Oh, I've seen a lot of fights, come from that. You tight with a person and y'all laughing, man, for months, man, nearly years. And then y'all get into argument and, yeah, that's why your mama a crackhead. And this a person you talked to and told this to. That's why your girl cheated on you. Yeah, that's why that's why you got stolen. Ain't even fight back on Red Onion or Sussex One. Woo. And they should they clashing because trust is so hard. So hard to give. And when given, you got to take care of it. You got to take care of it. So again, don't always look outside yourself when it comes to who you don't trust, right? I don't trust this person. I don't trust that person. I see what he's saying. I don't trust that person. Because that's going to happen. I do it. But look in the mirror and ask yourself, are you trustworthy, right? Are you trustworthy? And that's what's most important, And if you are trustworthy, then you be careful of those around you who you can't trust, because they're not on your level. If they're not on your level, then minimize your dealing with them. Doesn't mean you got to cut them off. Doesn't mean you look down your nose at them. It just means if you are trustworthy and you deal with integrity, then you are worthy of having that in your circle, that as a confidant, that as a friend, that as a mate, right? If you don't have that now, then again, look in the mirror and ask yourself, are you that person? Are you trustworthy? Are you honest? Are you bringing integrity to whatever relationship? And if you are, then demand that, and you have that right. As always, man, I appreciate you all. Thank you all, man, for watching these videos. Thank you for walking this journey with me. I actually plan on start posting many of the videos that I have of me going into some of these neighborhoods. I've said that before, but a lot of them are just short videos, so I just, wasn't going to throw them up there, opting to, converse. But I am. So many of you all who aren't on social media can see that I'm sincere and I'm dedicated. Like I said, I go to a neighborhood now in D.C. in Southeast called Woodland, and a brother named Coach Anthony, he was a part of the Untouchables, the DC Untouchables, a boxing coaching team. And he asked me to come through, you know what I'm saying? And, so I go, I've held the pads, once or twice, per his instruction. But, when the kids and, come in, it was like 2 or 3 14-year-olds, a 15-year-old, and even a 9-year-old. But last couple times I went in there, he let me do the workout circle, so I get in I tell the kids get double arm distance, and, we call workout exercise. And I did it last night, man. I was on it. And, I try to include them. So once I give, arm rotations, iron butterflies, waist bends, bend and reaches, couple push-ups, then to keep them engaged, I'm like, you call that next exercise. You call that next one. And I tell them, call it with clarity. You want to do 20 jumping jacks, say it with confidence, 20 jumping jacks, and tell us how to count them. We count 1, 2, 3 together, or, because you may have to instruct. And that's what I told them last night. And they enjoyed it because not only was I telling them, working out with them, I let them, call the workout. So I was honest. So I am out here working. I am out here striving to do and be more and do and be better. And so I'm grateful for that opportunity. For those who may be watching this for the first time, check me out on my Facebook page, under Khalid Kareem. That's my name. And, I'm under Instagram, Khalid Kareem 75 as well. So I thank you all. You all stay peaceful, be trustworthy, and demand the same. And you all stay safe out here. Peace.